Well, today's a new day. Back on the EcoBoost where we left off. Manifolds were on, waiting on parts. Put the new coolant line, the coolant jiffy fitting, coolant jiffy fitting with some grease in it. So go ahead and get the turbo mounted up on the manifold. Get that part done. Get the gasket back onto the back here. Run the line from this jiffy fitting over to the turbo here. Get it clipped in. Keep plugging away. Thing to keep in mind here with these new bolts from Ford, they are designed with an interference fit, so they will go in a few threads by hand and then seem to get tight. If you're not used to it, you might think you're cross-threading it. Obviously make sure you're not, but start at a few threads by hand and it'll get tight, and you just run it in the rest of the way with the ratchet. So figure that was worth noting. Some people that may or may not be aware of it. If you're doing this in frame with the cab down, it's kind of a bit awkward to get through the wheel well to it, and you might feel it and keep thinking it's getting tight and there's a problem. So where we left off yesterday, this side was complete, done, ready. So kind of clean it up a little bit. Turbos are pretty gross, but didn't want to opt for new ones at this point. It's not passing oil, which is shocking. One of the big things with EcoBoost always seems like the driver's side as well. But so that part's there, done. Picked up. They didn't have these in stock, so I was kind of stuck yesterday. But two more of the jiffy fittings that goes onto the turbo. So if anybody cares for the part number, they're the ones that go here. Clean that all up. So you got one there. You got another one there. And then you got your coolant line here, and then you have the other one I'll show you when we get there. That's the long one. This is the block side fitting. So they are in fact different. Whether you want to pay attention or not, you will see that one's a lot. Camera angle is kind of hard to see, but that one's definitely a lot taller than that one. So shorter ones go into the turbo, longer ones go into the block, and then you also have another one that's a completely different overall size that goes into the block onto the side of it. So side of the block is the biggest one, the medium one goes into the back of the block, and the smaller ones go into the turbos. So we'll get them in, hang another turbo. Should have the cap down tonight. Got a bunch of snowfall, so moving snow. Now it's really just a matter of doing everything in reverse order. Set the cap down. You really just kind of lay all the electronics and stuff over the engine. Most of this I didn't move, if you remember in the beginning. Used a zip tie to hold some of that out. Had the radiator hose stuck up underneath there, pulled it down. Again, this is where, after you've had to maneuver it, see kind of where you got to shove the AC lines to get them out of the way. Why you really want to remember how the rat's nest right here actually goes back together. Because if you don't, you're going to be hooking it up, undoing it, hooking it up, and rerouting it a few times. So if you paid close attention to that, took a picture, a couple of them, it should be a no-brainer. But make sure if you don't get a new bolt, we'll say Ford says that you have to throw that bolt away. I'm not here to be your parent and tell you what to do. Regardless, make sure that there is some blue Loctite on it. Whether you opt to use your own, reuse the same one again, put a little extra blue Loctite, you get a new one, it's going to have some on it, but make sure that's good and Loctited in. Connectors over here, clean them good, put them in. So if you guys remember, we undid this one, these two here. In the original video pulling it apart, I had already undone these and shoved them down over here, but as you can see, they just route back along there and then come up right behind there. There's a couple good little solid clips that hold them in place, so get them back where they go. Vacuum line here is going to go right onto there when we get that far. Bolts there. Vacuum line here is going to go in there. You can either WD-40 and pop it out of the grommet like I did, or you can sit here and dick with the clip. You can obviously see which route I went for. So steering, ABS pump, got a little sensor down there. The light kind of sucks, so let's get a little better one. You got that little sensor there, lower radiator hose. Again, you can see somebody's overlay, their factory installed overlay that was tied back into the ABS module. So radiator connector there for the degas bottle, and route the ground back up to here. It's this guy right here that we talked about, so it's going to go there. Not a whole lot to it. So we'll try not to bore you guys with all the little details, but we'll try to keep it addressed and somewhat informative in case you're using this as a way to get the encouragement to pull your own cab. So that's about what she looks like. Obviously it'll get washed up and cleaned up before it leaves here, but connectors back in, all them connectors are there. This one here that kind of runs down the ABS one, it can be a little tricky and try to hide on you. So it'll fall down and you gotta look down underneath to find it. Same with this AC line right here. I like to tuck them up underneath here, and if you get them just right while you're looking to find it because you forgot where you stuffed it, it blends in perfectly and looks like it's just a normal connector. But that one's there, AC line there, AC line there. Do have, it's hard to see it, you gotta fish your hand down in there, but there is a fog lamp connector down, hidden down underneath there you gotta get. So, but got to do the air box, air lid, Y splitter, fill it with coolant, suck the AC out, and it's done. And don't forget the battery clamp. So, just like that though, there ain't a whole lot to it. Once you do a few of them, again, if you're a diesel guy, you already know and understand. A lot of guys in the gasser world still don't want to drink the Kool-Aid, but there's not a whole lot to it. You get the cab up in the air and you have a ton of room. You're not leaning over, you're not climbing up and down on somebody's hood and grill, climbing over the fenders, fishing around to get to any of that stuff. Once it's up, it's out of the way. All the room to work in a much more efficient and comfortable position. And just like that, another one done. Don't mind the smoke, I promise it's not on fire. That's mainly the degreaser burning off and all the cosmoline from the new parts. But anyway, in and out, on to the next one.